Hi class, this is Mrs. Oyster, and I want to go over some capitalization rules for you to help you with your IXL levels this week. This week, I believe I have you doing TT 1 through 5, and it is practicing putting capital letters in sentences in the correct places. So I put together this short little presentation to give you some rules about capitalization. Some you'll need for IXL, some is just things that I want you to know. So let's get started. So when do you use, or when do I use, a capital letter in my writing? So first of all, obviously, you capitalize the first word of every sentence. So here's some examples. The cat jumped onto the fence. Then it walked along the fence looking for birds. So as you can see, the T is capitalized at the beginning of this sentence, and the T is capitalized at the beginning of this sentence. Also, you always capitalize the word I no matter where it is in the sentence. So, a couple examples. My mother asked if I wanted some cookies. After eating the cookies, I drank some milk. Even though the word I is in the middle of a sentence, you always capitalize it. The names of people, pets, and titles of respect, which I'll explain in just a moment. So when you are naming a specific person, a specific animal, a specific title like Mr., Mrs., Doctor, you capitalize those words. Now, if you were saying like, I took my dog for a walk, you wouldn't capitalize dog. But if you said, I took Hank for a walk, then you would. So here's a couple examples. She asked Bobby to help her with the work. Bobby is the name of a person, so it needs to be capitalized. Speaking of Hank, my dog Hank loves to take walks. So since I named my dog, I need to put the H as a capital. Her teacher's name is Mrs. Green. In this case, Green is the name of the person. Mrs. is what we call a title of respect. And so the M in Mrs. needs to also be capitalized. So if you were saying something like Dr. Lopez, the D in doctor would need to be capitalized, and the L in Lopez would also need to be capitalized. Okay, so we've got beginning of sentences, the word I, names of people, places, or sorry, not places, pets, and titles of respect. Also, the names of days, months, and holidays. Here's some examples. On Monday, I will start my work. Monday needs to start with a capital. It's the name of a specific day. My birthday is in November. True story. November is the name of a month, so it also needs to start with a capital. And then here's a holiday. I love camping on the 4th of July. Notice 4th of July is a holiday that has multiple words in the name. So you need to capitalize the F, but also the J in July. A lot of holidays are just one word, like Halloween, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. Those would start with a capital. I'm trying to think if there's any others that have more than one word. Like Labor Day. You would capitalize the L in labor and the D in day. So capitalize all the words of a holiday. The names of places and geographic features. You'll see what I mean by that in a moment. Here's a couple examples. My family is traveling to Georgia next month. Georgia is a specific place. It needs to start with a capital. In fact, all states, if you're naming the state, start with capitals. I hope to visit the Grand Canyon soon. Grand Canyon is a geographic feature. It's a certain place that people might travel to. Excuse me. It needs to start with capitals, the G and the C. We went to visit the Washington Monument. W in Washington and M in Monument both need to be capitalized. If you were saying, I visited the White House, you would capitalize the W and the H. If you said, I went to the Mississippi River, you would capitalize the M and the R. Okay, this might be new for you. Names of nationalities and languages. Nationalities is when you name like the place a person came from or the place something comes from, and then languages, of course, are the names of languages. So here's a couple examples if you want to know what I mean. My Korean family will be visiting next month. Korean is a nationality, so it needs to be capitalized. It means people from Korea. She speaks English at school, but Spanish at home. English and Spanish are both the names of languages, so they also need to be capitalized. You always capitalize the name of a language. French, German, Swahili. I love to eat Indian food. So Indian means food or things from India. It's the name of a nationality, and so it also needs to be capitalized. All right, I learned something new about this today. Capitalizing the titles of books, articles, and movies. So when you have the title of a book, you capitalize all the important words in the book and also the first word in the title. So if you had I should have put this up here, but remember the book we read, The Wind and the Willows? You would capitalize the first the because it's the first word in the title, but then the wind in the willows, you wouldn't capitalize the in and the in the middle of the title because those are just little small words. They're not important. So another true story. I am reading Knights versus Dinosaurs. That's the name of a book, one of the challenge books, actually. All of these words are important in the title. The K in Knights, the V in Verses, and the D in Dinosaurs. So I need to capitalize them all. Now here's what I learned today. Not related to capitalization, but it might be interesting. I was always raised to say that you underline book titles. And so that's why I underlined it here. But then I looked it up and I wanted to see if that was still the rule. And I found out that when you're writing, like handwriting something, and you're talking about the title of a book, you do underline it. But if you're typing the title of a book, you italicize it. Interesting. I just learned that. I did not know that. So you'll see me use some italics in just a little bit. Okay. When you're talking about the article, like the name of an article or the name of a chapter in a book, you put quotation marks around it. So here, did you read the article called How Kids Learn? How Kids Learn is the name of the article. So I capitalized the first word in each one. She loves the movie Alice in Wonderland. Notice I italicized Alice in Wonderland. I used italics. In is one of those small words, so we don't need to capitalize it, but you do want to capitalize A in Alice and W in Wonderland. All right, so you use capitals when you're titling books, articles, and movies. All right, I think this might be the last one. The first word in quotations. And we did learn this in class, so hopefully this will sound familiar. Here's a couple of examples. He asked, do you like chocolate? Now, technically, this is all one sentence here, right? But since it includes a quotation, it includes the direct words that someone spoke, we have to capitalize the beginning of the quote. So even though this is the middle of the sentence, it's the first word in the quote, so it needs to be capitalized. They read 20 minutes this week, she explained. So in this case, the quote comes first. The first letter in the quote needs to be capitalized. And last example, the teacher replied, good work. The first word inside the quote needs to be capitalized. Okay, so hopefully those will be helpful for you. I think that was the last one as you're doing your IXL levels. If you have any questions, we'll talk about them at the meet. Otherwise, you can jot them down in Google Classroom. All right, good luck and thanks for listening.